Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33, and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of, it's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the poor and where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, my best align.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, your host and White House correspondent. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and there I am. Can't miss me. Fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or guess what you can do? You can tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580, and there we are for your listening pleasure. Last but not least, subscribe. Keep your hands on the wheel, but touch your neighbor and tell them to subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way, you'll never miss an episode. You can listen to us in afternoon drive time live, or you can listen to us a little bit later on the podcast. We're fancy like that. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch, please, by all means. And especially if you're going to be in Martha's Vineyard next week, I'll be there too. And so, say hello. A hand wave. A hug, right? Thumbs up. I will be checking for you, and so check for me. All right. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. If you have been concerned about the cost of prescription drugs, or if you're concerned about that cost for a family member, you may want to pay attention to this, as Trump threatens drug giants with a crackdown over prices. The Guardian is reporting that Donald Trump has threatened to use, quotes, every tool in our arsenal to crack down on pharmaceutical giants if they fail to cut drug prices for Americans within, get this, 60 days. 60 days. The president wrote to executives at 17 companies today, demanding that they match their U.S. prices for prescription drugs with the lowest price offered in other developed nations. See, currently, prices, as the president has said, are at an unacceptable burden. They are an unacceptable burden on U.S. families. And he claimed that they could be up to 3 times higher than in other countries. After returning to the White House earlier this year and pledging to bring down drug prices, the president claimed that most proposals from the pharmaceutical industry amounted to more of the same, accusing firms of seeking to shift blame and requesting policies that would pave the way for handouts worth billions of dollars for the sector. The bosses of Pfizer and AstraZeneca and GSK were among those who received the letters. GSK didn't respond to requests for comment, but and AstraZeneca declined to comment. Pfizer said that they're working closely with the Trump administration and Congress on solutions that will increase access and affordability for American patients and enhance the power of the biopharmaceutical innovation ecosystem in the United States. Our discussions have been productive. And so we'll see what that means. 60 days. What's Trump going to do next when it comes to lowering the cost of prescription drugs? We shall see. But prescription drugs aren't the only thing that's on Trump's mind. He has a dream of building a ballroom at the White House, and it looks like it's becoming a reality. NPR is reporting that the renderings are complete. The architects and contractors have been hired, and after at least 15 years of talking about it, President Trump is building a ballroom at the White House. According to the White House, its work will begin this September with a price tag of $200 million. $200 million. The largest event space at the White House now is the East Room, which seats about 200 for dinner. So for decades, when the White House needed more capacity for state dinners or other large events, they would take it outdoors, usually putting up large fancy tents, complete with flooring and chandeliers. Once completed, the White House says that this new ballroom will seat 650 guests. It'll stand at approximately 90,000 total square feet. And this is what the president's big dream is. We haven't seen this kind of construction on the White House in a long time. And so we can't be too surprised that the real estate mogul turned reality TV star president is dreaming about this. Not surprised. What I am surprised about is this recall warning for some Celsius energy drinks that can accidentally contain alcohol. Now, we know there are a number of leaders, learners, and listeners that are about your business when it comes to your sobriety. And so when I saw this headline, I thought of all the people who are maintaining their sobriety the best way they can, and how just not having this information could be a setback to that sobriety. And so I felt the need to share this. As reported by NBC News, the canned cocktail maker High Noon is warning customers that some of its vodka seltzers were accidentally labeled as Celsius energy drinks. Yikes. In a recall notice posted to the Food and Drug Administration's website, High Noon said unspecified numbers of its beach variety packs contain cans that are filled with High Noon vodka seltzer alcohol, but because it's been mislabeled as Celsius Astro Vibe energy drink, sparkling blue Raz edition with a silver top. The products were shipped to retailers in Florida, New York, Ohio, South Carolina, Virginia, and Wisconsin from July 21st to July 23rd. And so make sure you check that out, check the labels on those drinks, particularly for those that are managing their sobriety. Who knew that you could have that kind of switcheroo between High Noon and Celsius, but apparently it's happened. In other news, Axios reported on a big scoop today. I ain't been right since I read this headline. Apparently, top Biden aide was promised, get this, $8 million for a 2024 win. I can hardly believe it. Former President Biden's top political aide, Mike Donnellan, he told congressional investigators today that he was paid $4 million for his work on Biden's 2024 reelection campaign and would have made, get this, an additional $4 million if Biden had won. It's according to a person familiar with his testimony. And in case you're wondering why this matters, Donnellan's testimony, it shows that he had a financial incentive for Biden to run for reelection, even as the majority of voters expressed doubt about the president's ability to do the job another 4 years. Listen, I have been saying this, and I'm not alone in saying this. I think there are a number of folks who are going to have to give an accounting because there was a financial incentive to tell the president he was the only one who could do it. he was the only one who could win. There was a financial incentive. And I think we need to follow the money as to who benefited from that. There are a number of folks who have companies, firms that just happen to be vendors to the Biden campaign, got paid very, very, very well. $8 million. He wasn't even the campaign manager. $8 million. I'm hard pressed to find anyone that was able to fetch that kind of contract. $4 million for a reelect, a $4 million win bonus. I was talking to one of my producers, Faraji, earlier. We said, well, maybe we have the wrong business. $8 million? $8 million. Good Lord, it's a lot of money. When we come forward, we're going to switch gears. I am delighted to welcome Andre Gaines. He is the director of The Dutchman. And if you're on Martha's Vineyard tomorrow at 5 p.m., he'll be screening this film at the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. And this is not this film's first time capturing the people's attention. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that when we come forward. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Andre Gaines, the director of The Dutchman, when we come forward.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Well, thank you. Yeah. At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. And I thank you, thank you.
Agnes was in deep trouble with the IRS.
I owed the IRS a lot of money. I did not know what I was going to do. I was scared.
Agnes caught a break and found out about Optima Tax Relief.
But when I called Optima Tax, they guaranteed me that they were going to help me out the best that they can. And they did.
Optima stopped the IRS.
No more telephone calls, no more letters. Optima Tax took care of everything. I can finally sleep at night. I was stress-free.
Agnes was finally free from her IRS nightmare.
It was like a burden was lifted off of me, and it was a great feeling.
Are you in deep trouble with the IRS? You might want to listen to Agnes.
I would refer Optima Tax Relief to anyone because they got me debt-free from owing the IRS any more money.
Call Optima right now for your free consultation. Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests. As we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai and delighted to welcome Andre Gaines. He is the director and producer of The Dutchman. And let me tell you, if you are on Martha's Vineyard, if you're en route to Martha's Vineyard, you just need to send yourself a little text message, send yourself a little calendar note, because Friday, August 1st at 5 p.m., it is going down at the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival, where they'll be screening Andre's film, The Dutchman, at the festival. And so run, don't walk to get your passes to check it out while you're there. Welcome to the show, Andre.
Thank you. I appreciate it. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be there in Martha's Vineyard on Sunday for a week, checking out a lot of the other films at the preeminent Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. But let's talk about your film, The Dutchman. It is worth noting that this film was originally written by Amiri Baraka back in 1964, at the heights of the civil rights movement. The play and now the film unflinchingly exposes the violent undercurrents of seemingly everyday interracial interactions. It was interesting then. It's all the more interesting now. Talk to us about why it was important for you to reimagine the film as you have.
Well, first of all, I still tripping a little bit on your last report. I didn't know that information about the Biden campaign. That's pretty striking. So we'll save that for kind of a later dinner conversation. The play that Amiri Baraka, at the time his name was Leroy Jones. This was before he was revolutionized, as they say, inspired by the words and preachings and teachings of Malcolm X back in the 60s, and changed his name to Amiri Baraka and became the preeminent scholar and leader of the Black arts movement back in Harlem during the 60s. And this was a play that anybody who's ever gone to drama school or film school or anything like that has read or known. And it was something that I wanted to do for a very long time. I had chased the rights to do it with the family for probably about 6-7 years before they finally said yes. And they didn't say no because of any particular reason as it relates to me or my work or anything like that. His widow, Amiri Baraka, really did not want to revisit some of the pain that is inherent in this story, which is about a Black man named Clay who meets a white woman named Lula on the subway train in New York. And I felt that this story, modernized and today, has all of these sort of relevant undercurrents and themes that still exist, but that the ending of the film would be something very different today than it would have been as the play back in 1964. They restage this this play probably about every 6 to 7 years off Broadway in New York. And so folks who are New Yorkers and people who go to plays on Broadway are very familiar with it. Almost every actor is familiar with this play. They have to perform a monologue from it one way or the other if they've gone to drama school or any type of acting training. So it just has this kind of inherent history that's built into a pretty extraordinary life. This is a kind of semi-autobiographical from Amiri Baraka, and I just couldn't wait to be able to tell the story, so I finally did.
And between the story that Amiri Baraka told so many years ago that is still relevant today, and your own experience, talk to us about how your own experience, how you sprinkled your own lived experience as a Black man in America dare I say, now living through the MAGA era
Yeah.
of America. Talk to us about how you balanced the foundation of this work with meeting modern times.
Well, I mean, the biggest component of that had to do with Clay, the lead character. So Clay's a black man, buttoned up, well dressed, sophisticated, educated, all of those types of things. That's on this subway train that encounters the probably the worst woman that he could possibly meet. And what we don't know in the play, though, is really who Clay is. So we just meet him on this train, and this story sort of unfolds as it does, but we never know any of his backstory. We don't know where he comes from, what his relationships outside of this one fateful relationship is, where he works, what he does. And so that's where I put a lot of myself into it. The star of the movie, one of the stars, or the lead, I should say, Andre Holland, is a dear friend of mine. We went to NYU together. I was in film school. He was in acting school, and we've known each other a long time. And so we both sort of sat down and talked about this play, and talked about Clay, about the lead character, and what it was like, to suffer from some identity crisis, what it was like to always be the only black guy in the room and somebody that, everyone is sort of looking at. How do you straddle the line between, being the only black guy in the room and part of your kind of white contemporary crowd, but then also go back to your community and serve the community as well? How do you sort of do those two types of things? And so that's all wrapped up into Clay. Even his name as sort of clay that can be molded and shaped into something for whatever anyone's perception might be. That's kind of how he's felt. And there wasn't anybody better, to convey that really than Andre Holland, who's not only a good friend of mine, but was my only call. It was the first and only call that I made to play this role. And he really did a fantastic job.
I mean, just hearing you say that, it's reminding me of, there's a phenomenon on TikTok right now where folks are posting about the price of being black in suburbia. TikTokers have been documenting the price of growing up black in predominantly white suburban neighborhoods. It is a phenomenon that is engulfed TikTok, and just hearing you sort of describe the lived experience of Clay, it made me think about some of the posts that I read about. In fact, these TikToks, they arrived amid this sort of current culture war about Black middle and upper class life, all thanks to the new Ralph Lauren Martha's Vineyard inspired collection, which to some people, it feels like a rebuttal to the narrative that's ruled the day. There are a lot of folks that have grown up, and, if they speak a certain way or dress a certain way, they're sort of thought of right out the gates as, being a sellout, being uncomfortable in their skin, trying to talk white, act white. And so talk to us about how this film contributes to this conversation that's definitely happened on TikTok, if not other places.
Yeah, well, a lot of it, frankly, had to do with, in some ways, for me, reverse engineering what Amiri already wrote. So the Clay, in many cases in the play, is sort of built off of W.B. Du Bois's philosophy or theory of double consciousness, which is something that I put squarely right into the film. And that is the attempt of Black Americans, not just Black males, but particularly Black males, of trying to straddle the line, of trying to be an American and also be a Black man, at the same time. trying to assimilate and accommodate while still maintaining your identity. And that's something that's been going on since the beginning of time, certainly since Reconstruction, when Black folks were freed and allowed to kind of re-enter society. And what is it that they really were going to try to strive toward, at the end of the day. And so I think with what we're seeing now is just kind of the manifestation of that. History is cyclical. It's all happened before in some type of iteration, one way or the other. We're just dealing with it in a modern society. And so that's what I really wanted to try to embody in Clay. And I, had the benefit of Amiri Baraka's, incredible words to kind of build off of and work off of at the end of the day. And it's something that we've all, have experienced. Especially if you're a Black man who's gone to college, even a HBCU, where you're surrounded predominantly by other Black folks, you've experienced what it means, to be the only, or to be the kind of exclusive person in the room.
I want to pick up on that point when we come forward. This film, it centers on the Black's psychological experience by confronting head-on the deeply ingrained dynamics of racial tension in America. Makes me wonder if psychological safety is even possible for us. We'll hear what Andre Gaines, the director and producer of The Dutchman, has to say about that when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The Department of Justice is ramping up its crackdown on diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. In a memo issued this week, Attorney General Pam Bondi says federal funds may be pulled from schools and universities using DEI programs that do not align with federal anti-discrimination laws. For the first time, the Memphis Grizzlies will not play at home on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Instead, they'll be in Europe as part of the NBA's global push. The move has upset fans and local businesses that rely on the team's presence during the city's MLK tributes. City leaders are now planning alternate events. And Portland, Oregon Mayor Keith Wilson signed an order to ensure city programs comply with the Civil Rights Act and other non-discrimination laws as required by President Trump to keep federal funding. The move affects 75 programs and $349 million in aid. Wilson called it a tough but necessary decision. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Stall in Pasadena, 210 eastbound before Hill. Middle lane is blocked. Delays leaving the 134 freeway. Griffith Park on the 134 eastbound at Forest Lawn. It's a crash. It's now out of lanes to the right shoulder, but delays are still backing up, getting away from Buena Vista out of Burbank. Let's also look at South LA with a wreck on the 110 southbound before Vernon. Middle lane is blocked. That drive is loading up away from Exposition. Let's also look at Irvine. This is the drive on the 5. Heading northbound, delays at the 133 freeway all the way to Harbor in Anaheim.
Emergencies can happen at any time. That's why building an emergency kit and having a plan is so important. Southern California Edison stays ready for the unexpected, and they encourage you to be prepared too. For more information and to update your outage alerts, visit SCE.com/be prepared.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL preseason kicks off tonight with the Chargers playing the Detroit Lions in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. Live coverage on NBC. The Hall of Fame class of 2025 will be inducted Saturday. Among the honorees, former Chargers tight end Antonio Gates. Congratulations to Doug Williams, the first Black quarterback to play in a Super Bowl and win one. Williams has been selected to receive the President's Lifetime Achievement Award, the highest civilian honor for a U.S. citizen. Williams, now 69, is a front office executive with the Washington Commanders. When the Washington franchise was known as the Redskins, the former Grambling star led the team to a Super Bowl win over Denver in 1988. Williams was named MVP. The ceremony for the President's Lifetime Achievement Award is scheduled for Saturday, August 9th on the campus of Howard University. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay! If you're an adult in need of an accredited high school diploma, the Los Angeles Public Library can help. You can earn one for free in as few as 5 months online with 24/7 access. You also get a personal academic coach plus special training focused on 9 in-demand industries, as well as a resume and cover letter to advance your career. Visit the website at lapl.org/diploma. That's lapl.org/diploma.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Hit me! National News The Consequence. Informed opinion. And analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and he is Andre Gaines. He's the director and producer of The Dutchman. Again, if you are in Martha's Vineyard, run, don't walk to the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. You can just get a day pass. And check out the screening of this film. It's happening Friday, August 1st at 5 p.m. Be there or be square. This is a film that was this is a story that was originally written by Amiri Baraka back in 1964 at the height of the civil rights movement. And fun fact, you know who the daughter of Amiri Baraka is? She is Dominique DePrima, and she is host of First Things First right here on KBLA Talk 1580 in morning drive time. And so a little bit of
she reached out when we first announced this project. I actually done her show with another film of mine called The One and Only Dick Gregory about the late great comedian. So I'm very familiar with her.
Yes, and we love her too. Talking about your film on the late great Dick Gregory, talk to us about any observations you glean from Black men of that era? When we think about Amiri Baraka, when we think about Dick Gregory, when we think about so many that were socially conscious and made it their business to lift consciousness through their gifts. Talk to us about any insights that you glean that, again, help you to shape the reimagining of the Dutchman.
Yeah, well, they were built differently back then. That's my, grandfather's era. And they're just tough guys that had to go through racism like we don't know, or racism that we can only imagine, or racism that, frankly, we can only make movies or TV shows about at the end of the day. They went through all of that sacrifice so you and I can sit, and have this conversation openly and freely with each other. And when you get a chance to sit down and kind of talk to these guys, our elders, our ancestors this way, there's a wisdom that they had at a very early age, wise beyond their years, as you would say, that they were able to achieve in their late teens, early 20s, enough to produce a play like Dutchman. Amiri Baraka was a very, very young man at the time. Same thing with Dick Gregory, mid-20s maybe, reaching the height of their careers, reaching the height of his career as a comedian in the mid-60s, and abandoning it, going to go march for civil rights, full time, for liberation. And so really, I think that what I wanted to do was be able to pay homage to that in the film, but also bring it to the modern era. And I don't want to give that away because that's part of the movie. But if folks come and see the film, then they'll and are familiar with the play. And even if you're not familiar with the play, you can still enjoy the film. But if you're familiar with the play, I think it makes enjoying the film even that much more, heightens the enjoyment of the film that much further, because there are elements of the play that are in the film, but the film is very much its own thing. It's very much an adaptation.
So we know that Vice President Kamala Harris, former Vice President Kamala Harris, made big news recently announcing that she's not running for governor of California, that she's releasing her new book, 107 Days, on September 23rd. Tonight she'll be on Steve Colbert, Late Night with Steve Colbert. And there are a lot of folks who have written about and talked about why she lost. And one of the exit polls, the NBC exit poll, shows that men tack towards Trump, particularly Gen Z men. What is it about the psychology of masculinity now compared to 1964 when Amiri Baraka wrote this, that seems to be giving way to authoritarianism, that seems to be making light of treating people with respect and decency? What is in the water?
Well, you're getting me started on something I'm going to get in trouble with, but I think that I'm definitely a political junkie when I'm not making movies, so this is the kind of thing that's definitely catnip for me. But I feel like that there's been a pretty in your face war on masculinity in the last maybe five to 6 years, maybe even longer than that. I think that the Me Too movement, for instance, was this incredible movement that needed to happen for a very long time. I take abuse of power very seriously, not only as a man, not only as a Black man, but also as a producer, also as someone in my position. I take it very, very seriously. And I think that too long men have abused that power, especially when it comes to women. And but what also happened as a result of that movement is some collateral damage. Some collateral damage of some guys who, maybe had a bad date, maybe made a pass at the wrong woman or women, maybe did something that was unbecoming or unsophisticated of a gentleman, and got swept up in it, And I also think as a result of that, that also made all masculinity toxic in some way, irrespective of who it's coming from. And in many ways, unfortunately, the Democratic Party, which is my party, I've been a party card holder for a long time, and donor, and all of the above, but that the Democratic Party sort of unfortunately adopted too many of those positions that really, I think, pushed aside men. I mean, the reality is that we have an ongoing crisis of, and I'm speaking for Black men, or speaking as a Black man, we have an ongoing crisis of men and boys in this country. And we have a particularly ongoing crisis of Black men and boys in this country. Oftentimes, Black boys are the last to be adopted, or considered, or even looked at. And Black men are often the ones who have to take the brunt of many of the, breaking of the glass ceilings and things of this nature, but often the ones who get the least recognition for it. So it was an interesting dynamic that there was a lot of men and even a lot of Black men that ended up voting for Trump as a result of that. And I think it was just by virtue of him having better messaging, even though he is an authoritarian, even though he is a aspiring dictator. It's just all about messaging at the end of the day.
Do you think part of it is, for some, not all, but for some, is part of it the illusion of control? The illusion of control. I think one of the things that the current president does so well is he projects this sense of inevitability. Because he wills it, because he wants it, because he says it, it makes it so. Is there something about that is tantalizing to all men, particularly Black men?
I mean, for sure, you sort of hit the nail on the head. I mean, whether it's an illusion or perception or just like not reality, a traditional like American male, Black or white, really looks for that level of control because that's their job to protect their families if they have families, their job to control their own destiny, their job to protect their wives, to excel and succeed at their jobs. And the only way to do that is with a certain degree of control. And when that control is sort of ripped from you, that's like taking your freedom away. And I think that so many men, particularly Black men in this last election cycle, really felt left out, really felt that their vote was sort of being taken for granted in a certain way. I mean, I remember when President Obama had to kind of give a talking to a group of Black men at a campaign stop, in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania or wherever it was. And I don't think it comes down to just misogyny, or I don't think it comes down to exclusively being male chauvinist. All of those things exist, especially when you're talking about control. But it also, there's also a sensitivity to it. There's also a sensitive aspect to it of being felt included, being felt like you were part of the conversation and that you're not necessarily taken for granted. And that's what Amiri Baraka was actually doing, like in his play when he wrote this play. That's what he was that was inherent in his very poetic language. But if you really dug deep into it and understand it and analyzed it, that's what was there. So that's what I wanted to try to bring out to the surface, in a simple way for the audience to really understand.
I want to ask you this final question in our remaining minute. It's a question that I have grown to love recently, and I'm always just sort of enamored by folks' response to it. In what ways was this project an answered prayer for you?
Well, I guess two ways. One, it was an answered prayer because I had been pursuing it for so long, right? That's just sort of the superficial part of it. It's like sometimes when you're chasing something for so long, it's great to finally get your hands on it. But I also feel that in my business, in the film and television business, that we're always, meaning black directors particularly, are always striving for positive images of ourselves. And there's no movie like this movie that I just made, the Dutchman. There's no movie like the play Dutchman, written by Amiri Baraka. The goal was for it to be something very new, something that we hadn't seen before, or something that we've seen very little of before. And these are just Black folks, well-to-do, in their communities, in their settings, in their natural habitat, being the best that they can be, projecting Black excellence, and unabashedly, not ashamed about it, but having, in this case, which is directly from the play, a woman named Lula, throw all of that into Clay's face and question it, and have him question his own identity, is something that in real life we probably deal with on a more covert level, or on a more overt level. This is a more covert level where she's doing this sort of psychological game that is going to make him sort of question his own identity, and to a conclusion that nobody necessarily saw coming. So that really was a dream come true, to be able to work with these fantastic actors, Andre Holland, Aldous Hodge. Both of them will be here tomorrow for the screening and the Q&A, and Kate Mara and Zazie Beetz, and the great Stephen McKinley Henderson, theater legend as he is. So I just had a wonderful, opportunity to work with these great actors and artists, and we had a fun time doing it, even though it's a very serious subject.
Our thanks to director, producer Andre Gaines. If you are on Martha's Vineyard, please be sure to go to the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. You want to check out this film, The Dutchman. The screening is taking place on Friday, August 1st at 5 p.m. Be there or be square. Andre, thank you for your contribution to the canon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580, the quiet part out loud when we come forward.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, also known as AD, a type of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior, making everyday tasks challenging. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? There are things you can do to help reduce your risk for developing AD. Managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure is crucial. Staying physically active, maintaining social connections, eating a healthy diet, and keeping your mind engaged with activities like reading or puzzles can all contribute to brain health. It's also important to recognize some common signs and symptoms of early AD, such as forgetfulness that causes problems with everyday life, asking the same question a few times in a row, and difficulty concentrating on basic tasks. If you see these signs in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatallzearly.com. That's treatallzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Hi, everyone. My name is Raquel Graham, and I have a big announcement to make. I have my own radio show. It debuts on KBLA 1580 on August 2nd, and it is called Entrepreneuring. I'm an inventor, a Shark Tank winner, entrepreneur for over a decade, and a proud mom of 2. I created this show because I know firsthand that entrepreneurship doesn't have just one look. Entrepreneuring celebrates what building a business really looks like. Big, medium, small, and micro. Some of us are running multi-million-dollar operations. Some of us are braiding hair in our kitchens. We're bakers, grant writers, laundromat owners, event promoters. Mark your calendars. Please tune in August 2nd, KBLA 1580 at 1 p.m. Pacific time. No question is too big or small. Let me know what you'd like for me to cover. See you then.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union here on KBLA Talk 1580. It's time for the quiet part out loud. NBC News reporting that a Michigan program gives new mothers cash. It could be a model for the rest of the United States. Look, this show is about featuring the leaders on the front lines, the innovators, the folks who are shaping the culture, that are doing what they can from where they are with what they have to build a more perfect union. This is a model example. Procession of mothers wearing red sashes, pushing strollers and tending to toddlers made their way to a little festival in, guess where? Flint, Michigan, where families received diapers and kids played. It was called a baby parade. The sashes indicated the women were participants of a growing program in Michigan that helps pregnant women and new moms by giving them cash over the first year of their children's lives. Launched in 2024, the program comes at a time when many voters worry over high childcare costs, and we've seen President Trump's administration float policy to reverse the declining birth rate. Well, backed by a mix of states, a mix of state, local, and philanthropic money, RX Kids, it gives mothers of newborns up to $7,500. That's $7,500 with no income requirements and no rules for how the money is spent. Supporters believe that the program could be a model for mitigating the high cost of having children in the United States. I was just having lunch with one of my dear friends, Eugene, and I learned so much about the cost of childcare and summer camps and all of that stuff just from our everyday banter. I'm not a dad yet, but I certainly enjoy learning from the moms and dads out there that are doing their best to offer their kids the world. And so hat tip to all the folks out there in Flint, Michigan, that are flipping the script when it comes to supporting new moms with cold, hard cash. We like to see it. And we also like to see headlines like this coming out of places like Flint, Michigan. So often when we talk about Flint, we talk about the water crisis that started over a decade ago. And there is still a lot of work to do to make people whole in Flint, Michigan related to that water crisis. But two things can be true. We have more work to do related to that water crisis. But guess what? There is a program in Michigan that's giving new mothers cash that can be a model for the rest of the United States. Imagine that. Just a quick programming note. Next week, I'll be broadcasting from Martha's Vineyard. And so listen in, tap in, because you never know who might decide to just pop on in to join us here on A More Perfect Union. But lots of great conversations we'll be sharing with you next week, some best of conversations that are perfect as we cruise into the final stretch of the summer. But we'll have to leave it here. My thanks to the entire village that helps us produce A More Perfect Union. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley. Our sound engineer extraordinaire, Brother Andy. To our show producers, Faraji and Art. And, of course, each and every one of you. We curate this show every single day with each and every one of you in mind. Remember, don't panic. Organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.